Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and here today again, I'm here with my sidekick, my partner in crime, Tony. Mary, how you doing, brother? Then we got a special guest. You know, I mean, for the first time, I think we got three branches of the military right here.
Yeah.
You know, we got the Marine Corps. You know,
Right.
And I mean, right now, brother, I'm proud of all of us, right? But I'm proud of what you guys are doing with the Camp Lejeune thing, the exposure. You know, I mean, that was a fight that needed to be fought, and I want to just take my hat off to you guys that stuck to the fight because it involves families. You know, so introduce yourself, Johnny. I ain't gonna do that.
All right. I'm Johnny Higdon. I am the president of the Atlanta chapter of the National Mountain Marine Association. We have the chapter here in Atlanta where we have about 60 members, heavily involved in the community and several community events. One of our biggest focus when we're talking about the Mouth Point Marines is to ensure that the approximately 20,000 Marine veterans that served, African Americans that served at Camp Moffett Point in the 40s, from 1940 to 49, received their recognition. And when I say recognition, it means they were awarded a Congressional Gold Medal in 2012 for their service and sacrifice to this nation. Well, out of those approximately 20,000 that served, only a few thousand were ever issued that medal for several reasons. And our goal today is to continue to be engaged in the community, hosting events, educating the public on the service and sacrifice of the Mouth Point Marines, and find not only the Mouth Point Marines themselves, but the families of those Mouth Point Marines, and ensure they get this Congressional Gold Medal so that the families can know how iconic the service of their loved one was, and transforming the shape of the military and the nation to this day. So,
thank you for that. And you know, I'm saying this. I was one of my generation, you know, the Vietnam generation. We were the guys that integrated the military, and that wasn't an easy job. We had fights in the barracks, but we learned, you know, to get along, and we did something that I don't think the greater society has embraced, and that we can respect each other's differences and still work together.
Right.
And I think the U.S. military show that more than anything. So I'm watching that star on your cap, brother. I mean, you know, that's the top of the line with the enlisted personnel.
Yes.
So I'm thankful. Thank you for your service, and thank you for what you're doing now, because it's so important that we bring this back to our community. Right. You know, as a service rep, I've always, like I said, my passion was getting benefits. You know, the benefits, the educational benefits, the home loan benefits, and the business benefits, and the disability benefits back to the community, because we know that impact income. But what more, and what Tony has been pointing out lately, the skills that we pick up in the military. Not just the discipline, right, but the skill package that we pick up in the military and make that transition back into the community easier. But what I want out of that is that when you make that transition, bring them skill packages to work in the community. So, and I heard that's what what your group is doing, and that I want to thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, what do you think about the PAC Act? This is where we're at now with this generational change in benefits at VA.
Yeah, long overdue. I would say glad they were able to push this forward and get it recognized. There are so many issues that veterans go through in the military that the average person just doesn't understand. So by them able to push this act, the PAC Act, and now include, of course, our Gulf War veterans, with some of those airborne illnesses, it allows them to receive the care and recognition as far as some of the things that people just don't understand that happens. Because when you're in the hot seat, when you're in the trenches, you do what it takes to survive, and you make things happen, but you bring some of that back with you, and a lot of that is unknown to the untrained person. So the PAC Act allows to put a voice to that, and allows avenue for those veterans to get some of those issues dealt with.
Yes, and now I'm being a service rep side, I think it was a good step in the right direction. But I think it fell short in a lot of areas because of location. Some of the locations that they was recognizing for burn pits.
Right.
You know, I always tell people the first job I had in Vietnam was on a burn pit, but that's in every location where you go into a new, and if you're gonna recognize it as a problem, it need to be recognized as a problem for all veterans. Because see, a lot of things I get when I'm doing claims for things. Well, I didn't go overseas.
Right.
You don't have to go overseas to become disabled in the military, because we got toxics on basically every military base, and we respond to it differently based on our health issues, the health effects. So I'm thankful. Let me get to Tony here for a minute, because see what I want to be able to say today to the community, and what we always saying to the community: if you understand and appreciate your veterans, you got one of the best forces for change in the community. Some of the best forces for changes in the community. So I want Tony to kind of explain some of the things that we were talking about recently with bringing those skills package back into the community, because I got a question for both of y'all when you finish.
Okay. But the point you're making there is extremely important. A lot of us receive exceptional training in the facility, not just on the job, but of course in the classrooms. And those skills, most of us were able to transfer it back into civilian life, which benefits all of us. And as you said, one of those benefits was, particularly if you were going into the federal government, there were points that you received when you joined a job within the federal government, which raises your ability and your score when you're trying to score higher to get a better job or a better position within the agency. So it's a wonderful skill to bring back. However, as we'll probably be talking about today, there are some additional things that we bring back from the military. And those things are a lot of times really challenging, because it affects us emotionally, intellectually, and physically. And that's one of the things that a lot of veterans, which we are in our effort to assist them, are dealing with. And it's a real challenge, but I think the benefits outweigh the challenges. The challenge now is to getting everybody aware of those challenges that these veterans are dealing with, so that we can get them help and get them to be more productive. Most of them are productive citizens, but we want them to be a better and more productive citizens, which will benefit, both the veteran himself, their family, and definitely the community. So we're appreciative of those efforts, but this is something that is important. The skills that the military has prepared us, most of us, for exceptional jobs. Most of the time, those jobs require little or no additional education, only some technical skills. Whereas, without those, a lot of times you're required to have a certain amount of education and all of that. But most of us are able to, in most situations, walk right into a job with some additional training and perform at levels higher than most employers are expecting us to be. So we come with benefits, but as a result of us coming with benefits, we want to get our benefits. We want those benefits that we earned by serving in the military for us to benefit, just not personally, but for our families, and the community.
Now, on that note, Tony, we look at how all the 5 pillars of our society operates when we start talking about benefits and how we fit in. But I think the one thing that we haven't noticed, we haven't paid attention to, the way the government agencies function outside of the military needs to have some military training. Now you start smiling, but what I'm trying to get at is that I take an oath. You took an oath. Matter of fact, we just did the oath again today at our monthly membership meeting. But we take that serious enough to make it a part of our behavior, how we perform, how we act. Why don't we elect government officials that appoints government workers the same way we do in the military? Why can't we expect our governments to, I'm talking about a city, school boards, county, state governments. Why can't we expect them to perform as well as we perform in the military? I mean, I know we got the military code of conduct, there's an extra layer there, but we still perform with a sense of loyalty that people give up their lives. And I've been in combat situations where, guy wounded trying to save another guy. Right. Why can't our governments function with this same kind of loyalty and commitment? Why do we have to? We're electing people that don't that want war weapons in the streets. Now, I don't want no AR-15 in my community. I mean, I had one. I know what they can do. I don't want to see that in the community. But we elect politicians who never had any military experience that would allow these weapons to be brought in the community and have younger people get it. Now I'm a person. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in that, but responsibly.
Of course.
Because they make us responsible. I remember after I got wounded, I went back to the rear. They took my weapon. I'm in the boonies. I'm in the middle of it. Oh no! Don't give me my stuff, man. No, you back here. You're in a safe perimeter. You don't need the weapon. But in my community, I can get. We got kids killing kids. We have to do something with our governments and the way they are functioning. Once we elect somebody, they appoint people, and I think my dad used to tell me, birds of a feather flock together. If you're elected incompetent, you're going to appoint incompetence. So what can we do as ex-military to bring that sense of dedication to the ballot box?
Well, and so again, strictly my opinion. But I think what we're dealing with, so you have to first understand that there's less than 1% of the nation that serves in the military.
Exactly.
So while we are very loyal and passionate about what we do, it's not that big on the other side. Mm-hmm. And I will say that the military is getting a lot better at trying to prepare us for that, especially when you do a career. Mm-hmm. A 30-year veteran right here. Mm-hmm. So when you get indoctrinated that long in the service, and you start to forget that the life out there on the other side
don't
quite work that way.
Don't work like
so they start to do a lot better of preparing us for what to expect on the other side, because while our military values are tried to us, the green values or what kind of help push things along on the other side. Mm-hmm. So how to bridge that gap is anybody's mystery. But I think what we have to do better on our end is understanding that for us, more of us have to get involved in that process. But again, a lot of us, we're tired. We've carried that pack. We've carried that pack for a lot. So in order to bring that change to places like that, we have to show those intangibles that we learn from the military, but more importantly, have to be more than willing to pick that pack back up and get involved in community activities or these offices, running some of these seats, and show those skills that make the military as successful as it is in managing people. So I think that's a real big issue, but. Again, it's just a small influence. We love it. Yeah. But it's a small influence.
It is.
In society.
But when you say it's a small influence, but and I always say this, that less than 1% of the population ever served in the military. But we have more influence than any other minority. Because you look at your family, the family ties, the friend ties that I know when I was going in the military, I had a party. People come to celebrate me going in, and they did the same thing coming home. We need to be able to, I think, bring that service organization and discipline to our community. We need to bring it there, and I'm just happy today that you are here, and that my brother Larry McClone is here, because he's another brother that see the issues, and willing to go out, point man. Me and him talking, and he said, "Okay, well, Pastor, I'm gone." He going out there to organize the community. One of the things that we've been doing here with Chapter 1118 is trying to network with other BSOs, because we know that if all of us show up together, one off will stop and come see what we want. Us off will come stop and see what we want. See, and that's the kind of thing that they need to be able to talk to us and listen to us about some of the things that's going on in the community, because we had crime in the military. You did it, but the percentage of crimes in the military as compared to the community is minute. Why is it that way? People get along. They have each other back. We had to learn to have each other back. If we can learn to do that in the community, then we wouldn't have a lot of the issues that we have. We also, you said something about the green. We wouldn't be so taken by that. We won't be so easily bought off by that, because we can come up with our own economics, with our own way of doing things that could actually, if we took the veteran benefits that we earn, if every veteran got his benefits brought back to the community, it would change the economic and social landscape of our communities. We have to recognize that. Because we come up with stuff, and we had to improvise a lot of cases in the military, because you got the mission. The mission is more important than the man. That's what we're taught. So we don't let our emotions get hung up in failure. Right. If we fail, we know we got to improvise. We know we got to adapt. We know we got to change right then and there. It ain't no emotional trip. But in the community, we have that, and I think it's because we don't have that organization, that unity of purpose. We got to get unity of purpose. And so I want to ask. I'm going to the audience now, because we got some folks in the audience that I know they're gonna ask some questions, and I see your first lady smiling, so she got some questions for us, right? But I want to ask Larry. Larry been going out, our point man, pulling organizations together, and that's why you was able to come today, because Larry was out there doing what we sat down and talked about. How we gonna get our community together? Well, we get the military part of it together first. We get them together. So Larry, now knowing what you know, do veteran votes matter? Yes, do it matter?
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
For our answer, we got history: Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy. Yeah.
We got it covered.
That's for a bunch of the military. You can't beat that.
Yeah, it does vote, and we have a lot of input. But like Command Sergeant said, that we retire and we want to relax. But like myself, I'm retired, and I don't want to relax. And I want to charge every veteran listening now not to relax. So veteran vote do count.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that, because see, we're that laid back time now. What we don't recognize is that we vote in the high 90s. We're one of the highest voting demographics in the country. But we either voting Republican or Democrats. You got a large block of independents now, which I claim to be one of those. I think if we focus on some of the issues that we encounter in our benefit grid, it would cause more veterans to realize that we need to vote for individuals that's going to keep their oath of office. You know, I mean, you pointed out something that I want to keep on. Less than 1%, right? The third largest part of the federal budget, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. There is no reason why 250,000 veterans are homeless in this country any given day. There's no reason for that. You know, and it's us because we won't come together. We won't say, no, we're not going to watch my brother in the streets homeless when we know the government got the money to change the Larry.
On that note, the VA follow up on them. If you won't ask, they won't tell. Mm-hmm. So what the veteran don't know, the VA ain't gonna volunteer to tell.
Well, that's why we got Veterans Talk. Yeah. Veterans Talking to Veterans. We got that's why we're here today. Veterans Talking to Veterans. Yeah. See, we're gonna expose this thing and we're gonna bring it together because see, I worked at the VA. You know, but I know too that veteran went out there and committed suicide. And I saw the culture that's out there. I'm a supervisor now. I'm gotta get to be a supervisor. So I'm sitting in the room listening to them talk about disabled veterans, right? They forgot that I was one of them. See, but that 15 points got me in the door. See, you know, and then I used them veteran the education benefits to get a master's degree. So they had to let me in the room. They had to put me there. But the minute they found out that I was different, they gave me 100% service-connected disability and out of the door. They retired me. See, and we shouldn't have that kind of stuff taking place in our governments. These are our governments. We serve to make this country what it is. We deserve to make sure that if that pledge of allegiance that we're talking about, they need to live up to it. They need to stop pledging allegiance to the flag. You know, they need to live up to it or stop pledging allegiance to the flag because it's misleading. I want to shout out to all them young men and women that currently serving in the U.S. military, especially my grandson. He's in Germany. He's 7 now. I mean, he making a career out of it. I told him, I gave him my Purple Heart though, so he ain't got to do that. he ain't got to go through all that. But what we are up against is not just the people kind of take advantage of us or take us for granted because you don't never see a group of veterans stand up and say the PAC Act was good, but we need that amended. It didn't go far enough. It didn't include all the veterans that are suffering from these disabilities. Because I know for a fact that they got burned. They used burn pits in the United States. Well, what about those guys? You know, we got to stop acting like we don't know better. Because we've been there. And we know absolutely, you know, you ain't going to rush the cry sick. You ain't going on no sick call. You ain't going on no sick call. Everybody in your platoon looking at you. You know, so we're not communicative enough. But I'm going to tell you what I do, son. When I'm talking to veterans about their claim and their conditions in the military, you know who I turn to? To their wives. Because they tell the truth. You know,
and their mothers.
And the mothers. And the sisters, too. They'll tell the truth. We macho. I'm a paratrooper. I'm the closest thing to Superman. Man, I got bad knees. I got bad knees. Jumping out of that plane, I got bad knees and probably got some back issues that ain't came up yet. But we need to be truthful about this because this is what we got to work with to save our country, you know, to save our communities. You know, if veterans stood up and say, hey man, listen, if you gonna let people have an automatic weapon, I'm not voting for you, period. Because I don't want that weapon in schools. I don't want to talk to I talk to my great-grandchildren now. I don't want them scared to go to school. Right. You know, and they scared to go to school. We're traumatizing our children with the violence in our community, and we won't stop. We don't want to stop and say, wait a minute. You know, we let people say everybody can get a gun. Matter of fact, you can wear your gun outside. You can totally in the street like you're a cowboy. What good is the government if we got to feel like we got to protect ourselves everywhere we go? That's what we have governments for. You know, we got a lot of police officers that are veterans. They don't want those automatic weapons on. They don't want to be confronted with that when they go to work every day. But they won't say anything about it because we don't have the political will to tell people we don't want that. We just don't want that no more. We need to stop it. And they can stop it overnight. They can stop it overnight. We got to speak up. Veterans have to speak out. Because we look at the transition back into the community. We come back, they celebrate us coming home, and then we go get a job and we don't say much. we don't say much, even though we know better. We know when we see people unfit to serve. We know what that is. We know what it looked like. We done seen it in the military 1,000 times. I saw it in basic training. You know, people was they weren't able to carry the load, so they recycled them a couple of times, and then they got them out of there. We let these people keep getting elected over and over and over again. And now they done got so comfortable, they just don't believe that they can be moved out of office. You know, they're finagling with the vote. They're playing with the votes all over the country. Gerrymandering, you know, I was in Marvin Narrington district. We were, yeah. Till they rewrote the lines. And they didn't rewrite the lines to account for the number of people that was coming into the district. That scared them because the people that coming into the district all look but brown. They're brown folks. They don't want that. Some kind of way we got to let them. You ain't got to be afraid no more. It's whatever we got to do. We learned how to do it in the military, and I'm trying to figure out how you guys did so well. You know, I mean, all of us did well. All of us did well because we all came out with an honorable discharge. How can we translate that back into our community and our politics? You know, so that we these people that's making all this money, standing on their yachts, telling people that $15 an hour is too much for minimum wage. You know, they need to look at the income inequity that we have in our community and understand how it relates to crime. If you do away with the lack, you're gonna do away with crime. Just, you know, you got one person in this country that could do away with crime tomorrow. All he had to do is give everybody in the country $100,000. They ain't gonna commit no. Well, you gonna have some people that gonna commit crimes because they are conditioned to preying on the community. But that's a few, and we can isolate those people and get them out the community. And that don't mean just locking them up, because the jailhouse are full of people that it's a crime school. They're not rehabilitating them because they're not giving them opportunities to change. But we can do that. We can do all these things that matters to our community. But we got to take our vote as a leverage. And I think if we come together, and we come together thanks to Larry, you know, Larry's out there every day pumping people, you know, about what we're talking about now. To try to get them to come together. Let's come together and reason. Let's come together and see how we can work together in our community to do things. You know, I tell people all the time that I'm good at what I do, but Tony is better at some things than I am. So I rely on Tony, you know, because in the military I learned to appreciate my brothers. You know, and they all didn't look like me. They had different skill packages. They had different things that they brought to the fight. That's why we win, and that's why the military is changed. That's why it's better, because of young men like you. You know, you made it better through your service. And we need to make that in our community. We need that back in our community because it's going crazy.
So, well, on that same topic, and again, what you talk about, what Larry's doing in the community, but I will say this: that needs to happen in the military as well. Meaning, that outreach has to start in the military.
In the military.
So you form a pipeline. So the veterans in the community is one thing, but if you have a pipeline of veterans leaving the military and going back to the community, but you already start putting that skill set into them to educate them on how to prepare for this side, and whether it be voting or whether it be the job skill they have, transitioning that to a job that's out in the civilian sector. My point is, the outreach has to start with the veterans, especially the younger veterans, because what you're going to learn, what I've learned, and being the president of this organization, is it's hard to reach them. It's hard to reach the younger generation. They have a different way that they connect. Generations like mine and generations like yours, we bonded a little differently in the military. The younger generation, they bond totally different, and it's not as attractive to them. Being a part of veterans organizations as say we were. So we have to figure, as a veterans organization, figure out how can we adapt ourselves to bring in a new population of veterans, because times are only changing. Nothing's staying the same. And if the new generation is our new market, now I say market is in the new people that we're trying to attract, we have to figure out how to be attractive to them. So they want to take up the mantle and be better at advocacy in the community, because that's what we're working with.
Yeah, that's what we're working with.
We have to figure out how to make some adjustments to attract them to come in and be a more powerful voice in the community.
And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said we got to start while they're still in the military. And that's what we try to do now, because we work with the junior ROTCs. We actually every year, and after high school graduation, we send a lot of our young people into the military, and letting them know that, okay, this is what you're going into. Now, these are the opportunities that you can get. And I tried to caution my grandson when he was going in, because he was really smart, to look at the MOSs that he's going to be confronted with.
Right.
See, and I told him, don't get no infantry MOS now. If you can avoid it, you can avoid it if you go in there and show yourself. Right. Show yourself, and they're going to put you in a place where you can come out really good and with a good experience. But we, as you said, we need to do that. Now we have a principle, a founding principle in our organization that never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. So I was glad to see the PAC Act, because it was generational. Yes. And I think that if we keep going at the election the way we're looking at it now, we got several veterans running for office, and that really inspired me to say, okay, we just had a young veteran in New York won a runoff, and I think we need to have one here in Georgia in that Margaret Taylor Greene race. Well, the brother's a veteran. He's a veteran though. He's a veteran, and we should speak up for him. We should stand up for him and ask those veterans in his district to look at him over that. We're talking about who gonna keep that oath to the people. Right. Who gonna uphold the flag? Because they do a lot of talking about it, but when you can arrest a mass shooter and you got to kill a person for a traffic violation, you got some real issues, and we need to address those issues in a way. We need to address those issues in a way that we can have some effect. And I think that what we're doing here today, and I'm so glad that you took time to do this, is just coming together and talking. And I want not just talking. I hope we can do some things after the show together. Like I said, we got one of the best service rep programs in the country, and and I'm teaching it. I'm teaching because I'm 75 years old. I got to teach you something. I got to take the mountain when you cut out. But what we need to be able to do is share those things and come together and let these congressmen and senators see us. When they say veterans, they look around, they're going to say, oh, I'm veteran. It might be a small population, but they done came together. So we will come together under some circumstances. So we got to find out what those circumstances are. How do we get those young people, those younger veterans? And I think if we start talking, I'm dealing with a mother of one of the young veterans that committed suicide. We have to reach out to their families while they're in the military, because they need to understand that they're not geared to trained to tell when they can't handle it. They're not trained to do that. They're trained to handle it no matter what it takes.
Right.
And some of that's coming back home, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the family that gave their veteran, their child, their loved one. And it's not a good thing for the country, because we're just 1%, less than 1% of the population. There's no reason they got over $200 billion a year for the VA. Less than 10% of that percentage of veterans ever used the VA. Now I know a lot of people don't realize that less than 10% ever use the VA, because they come out well. They come out good, so they don't really need the VA. But what about that percentage that didn't come out well? That's what the VA was established to do. Besides those, what I call upward mobility programs like education, the home loan, and another thing I really want to push this. We need to make sure that veterans are getting their business loans. This is one of the things that VA even complains about. They got a business loan set up now, disabled veteran businesses, where they actually help you set up the business, give you the business. So everybody come out the military ain't got to look for a job. We need to get them abreast of all the benefits that they got, and like you don't have to be out of the military to use your home loan. You can be buying a home while you're in the military. So we got to find a way to our young brothers and sisters to get them prepared for the community. The community that they're coming back to, because if we don't get them prepared to come back to, they want to build a fence around Atlanta and give everybody guns. I mean, this is what it's about. So we want to take this day and thank the Marines and thank the Navy and thank the Air Force and naturally, Keith, we got to thank the Army. We got the Army. And I want to shout out to my sister, Tish, because she got some stuff. See, I wish she had been at the meeting today.
Yes.
So we had a hot membership meeting. We had a new member come in, and he couldn't see nothing. He just thought we were just wild. He was a career veteran.
Yes.
80, I think, 86 years old. And he just felt like, well, y'all ain't doing nothing because I don't see nothing, But, bro, so I said, I can't see that good either. But what we got to be able to do is use the talent. Like T-Scott came up with something that's I would like to see in every disabled veteran's household. It's a kit, just a kit, and it got some stuff in it that helps you. I'm 100% PTSD. It helps me. It does. It makes me feel better than the pills that they give me. I stopped taking the pills, and they're all natural. See, so these are the things that we need to get in the community, and especially into the community where you got guys coming back out of the military who has had a rough time in the military. We don't know what that rough time is, and the family they're not gonna share it. We need to get some stuff to them. We need to get some help to them, and it can't be drugs. They can't self-medicate. We can't just let that go like that. So thank you, Sarge, for doing this. And we're gonna be calling on you again. Matter of fact, I'm gonna challenge you. Come host a show one Saturday. You should do some of that. Because we got to get this message. We got to get this conversation going. And this is what we established the show for, to try to be a camaraderie in the community. So I want to take my hat off to Larry. And I know I work him.
Yeah.
Because I'm always I work Tony too. But see, I got a good team.
Yeah.
Larry.
I want start to explain about Montfort Point, y'all won the yearly. Can you explain on that?
Well, you're referring to so the chapter. We've been really trying to do some good things here, and of course we got recognized by National and won the chapter of the year. So that's something we hanging our hat on right now. But not resting on our laurels, ready to go out and double our effort and be more visible in the community. Because we talk about community, but to us, we're talking about the Marines that served in the 40s. It was from 42 to 49, segregated boot camp because of segregation law. They couldn't train with their white counterparts. And of course, we know when the laws changed to integrate the military, these were trailblazers that sparked that change. But it wasn't instant. Even when the integration happened, racism didn't just go away.
No.
So they had to exactly, and they had to deal with that. So a lot of them never really knew how great their work was because it just wasn't recognized. It wasn't recognized then. So unfortunately, a lot of Montfort Pointers departed this world without truly knowing they were heroes. But what we can do is make sure their family knows.
Yes.
Because if a little boy knows that his dad or his grandfather, was a national hero, or any child knowing that in their family, it just changes the game for them. And that's what we were all about. It's legacy changing. That knowing that someone has blazed a trail and has such a profound impact on the military, on society as a whole, with changing the game, which is why we want to get that word out. We want to find these original Montfort Pointers. We want to find the families of the original Montfort Pointers and get them that recognition. And let those families, no matter what where they are, their heads a little higher now because they realize that history, that lineage that they come from, and that's what we're really trying to do. So, and again, speaking with you, we're all about getting out in the community and being visible, being known, being a part of whatever it takes to get the attention of veterans and bring about change in their lives. What we want to do. So it's awesome to be here and to get this word out. So definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
A really interesting point to that is one of the things that we're going to do is in the community centers have locations where we can educate these young men that are about to go into the military about the history.
Yes.
And that point that you just made is an extremely important point of them knowing the history of racism within the military and how it transitioned over the years to what we have now. And with that information, it's going to make them a better person. It's going to open up their minds. We're all interested in getting those younger veterans and those younger people informed of what the benefits of being in the military are. And then once they get that experience, for them to be willing to share it with those younger veterans than them. And therein is the challenge, is getting them involved to the point to where they want to be a part of that. And bridging that gap. Bridging that gap is extremely challenging right now. But there's going to be a way. We're still looking. But by having community centers where we get to talk to those young men before they enter the military, if they're interested in entering the military, then come to one of our facilities. Let us talk to you about the benefits and the challenges that are associated with that. And that way, they come with an open mind. At that point, and some may decide, yes, this is what I want, and others may say, that's really not what I want. But at least they have the knowledge ahead of time. Unlike a lot of during the Vietnam, you didn't have that choice. You were drafted. You had to go. And so for that reason, you can understand some of the attitudes that some of the military members came back with. Now, some benefited from it. It was wonderful. Yes, they fought against that idea, but once they were in the military and found that camaraderie, I'll say particularly those of us who didn't go to war, we made lifelong friendships and we made lifelong attitude changes about life. And particularly, once again, during that period, because growing up in a segregated society and all of a sudden you're in the military, and all those rules about segregation were gone. And you go like, oh, okay, this is a change. But for most of us, it was a good change. It was a really good change. And so we made friends of a different hue that we bonded with, to the point to where, like Reverend McGee said, you knew that guy behind you. It didn't matter about the color of his skin. You knew he had your back. And that was so important in a warlike situation, you know. And it was also important for those of us who were in the supportive system. You knew that whatever you were doing, that guy next to you had your back. You all were working for the same cause. And so those are the things that we need to inform this younger generation about, those benefits, those challenges, and everything, so that when they went into the military, they were more informed and they were ready to deal with whatever it is that they were going to have to deal with.
So, you know, you just gave me an idea. We need to have a set up an entity to welcome people home from the military. We need to do that there. We need to set up an entity of all these bases. You know, we start welcoming. When you get out of the military, come see us. You know, we need to do a splash on that. We're gonna come up with something where we can have an organized present for people coming out of the military.
Yeah.
You know,
well, because and the reason that's important is because it's part of the transition. They need to know that what you did for the last 4, 8, 20, or 30 years is not quite the same back here. So here's a place where you can feel comfortable as part of that transition. You know, organizations, you know, such as what we're talking about here. You know, when you come back home, you know, and get indoctrinated back in the civilian society with all the new skills you learn, but the camaraderie where you came from, you may not find the same thing here, but this organization will allow you to transition and be ready for that jump, because it's different. Because the military was, and why I think it was so great for us, because we have a unique way of finding common bonds, and putting us through situations where we have to lean on each other.
Exactly.
We have to lean on each other. The last thing I'm thinking about is exactly either my survival or mission success is dependent on my brother, sisters, my left to my right. And that changes the game. That changes the game. That lets me see you on a whole other level. And so that's important. That's important, which is why it's so unique that we experience that in the military. And the one thing that I go back to your initial point is, people just don't understand that, which is why I'm stressing the 1% to serve. Well, sure, our influence is powerful, but people are looking at us almost like aliens because they don't understand what we've gone through and why we're so close and why we have the swagger that we have. You know, they can hear about it, but until you've gone through it, it's something totally different. It's alien to it. But I'm on board with you. I 100% agree.
Let's do that. We're gonna organize an entity in Fulton County to do that. You know, to make sure that these young people that's coming back into the community, we greet them so that we can probably recognize some of the issues that they ain't sharing with their families. You know, and I think and then give them the resources.
That's not something out of the ordinary. One of the things that happened to me when I got ready to get out of the military is the Urban League came to me and said, we understand you're getting out of the military. What can we do to help you? You know, okay, you know, which was great. And what actually happened is at some point after getting out of the military, I said I wasn't sure I was going back to school. All of a sudden, I got a call from that representative, and he said, "What do you think about becoming an air traffic controller?" I'm going like, "What's an air traffic controller?" He said, "I tell you, I send all the paperwork, and you read it, think about it." He said, "But even if you don't, here's an opportunity to get on the federal registry, and so that if a job openings, you will be qualified for it, and a lot of those benefits that you had in the military will transition over." I'm going like, "Oh, okay," and so I did. You know, and I'm going like, "Okay," and so I benefited from that and everything. So that's why I'm a big donor to the urban leagues now.
Yeah, well, we need to create that.
Yes.
You know, because it's something that we're not reaching out to these young veterans that we should.
Yeah.
And that might be a problem with the suicides. You know, that might be a way that we can help impact that.
So it already exists. We just got to figure out how to tap into it.
Okay.
So I retired in 2019.
Okay.
And a new program they have, the VA does this program. They track you for 18 months. They call you like clockwork. And just like what you said with Urban League, they find out what you're doing and how are you doing. How's the transition going? What can we do for you? So my point is, this is being tracked already.
Okay.
It's just a matter for us to engage, tap into it, and allow and give a veteran a place to land.
Okay.
Give a place to land.
Yeah.
In other words, hey, we have this network set up for you.
Yeah.
They get indoctrinated in that network, and then that grows seeds right there.
Yeah, let's do it.
They can either become a part of our program or benefit from the services that we're offering them, which allows them another avenue to help transition from coming from a very structured environment
to chaos.
Okay.
From structure to chaos. I mean, because it is something that I'm glad we had this show, because this gives me something to work on this week. You know, to try to find out what this is, where we can tap into it, and then we'll get together, see how our organizations can.
Exactly.
And can we, you know, we might wind up volunteering with them. You know, you know, that's because we don't want to recreate the wheel. We just want to make it roll better.
Right.
And I think our dialogue, our conversation, veterans talking to veterans, that's all this is. You know, so we don't put on no fanfare. We are here talking to each other and talking to the community about the issues that we know exist in our community and what can we do to help. How can we make a difference? And we can. See, with all of this knowledge that we got coming together, the way we're coming together now, watch what happens over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
We're gonna see some changes in our community. So because we're gonna push.
Yeah.
You know, we came up with a way to expedite claims. You know, the VA system has changed. So I just want to talk about that for 1 minute. The VA system has changed. It's much faster now. They do it claim in 60 days. Which is remarkable. And I know it worked because I tried it myself. I put myself in a claim in March. In June, I was finished. It was finished. They gave me benefits. I looked in the bank account, you know, I had money now. I ain't got no money. But you know, we need to expedite the claim system with our people in the community. So I always ask guys, if you got 50%, you probably can get 100%. You know, so we want to try to get people to maximize their benefits. You know, we put them in the claim system. We come up with some doctors outside the VA that helps us. You know, so that makes it a whole lot easier because there are 3 elements to a claim, and once you cover all the elements, the VA gonna grant you. And we need to make sure people understand that. Once you cover the bases, they're going to grant you. Might not grant you what you want. They make you fight, you know. But now we got an opportunity to talk to a senator that'll talk back to us. And we can call them and say, listen, we want the bill amended. And if they see enough veterans there, they're going to put that bill up there. And I'm going to tell you something. I noticed when I've been to Congress a few times. They don't fight veterans, they fight each other. You know, that's politics. You know, they want to, if the Republicans want something, the Democrats are against it. The Democrats want something, the Republicans are against it. But you notice one thing, when they messed up on the PAC Act about a week before they passed it. And buddy, those veterans came out of the woodwork. They went right back in there and passed the PAC Act. I ain't never seen them move so fast. But I saw the veterans coming out on the media and complaining about it. So they were talking about, well, they did veterans wrong. So everybody was, you know, trying to hide their head and get in there and make a vote. We need to make them do that often. Yes. Because we are being shortchanged. You know, we're really being shortchanged. And I want to be able to wake up and know that every veteran is getting the care that they need, you know, so that they did a service. They need to get the care that they need. You know, if they got a disability, they need to have their maximum due for that disability. not put them at 30%, and they know that they can't function with 30%. That ain't even that's almost insulting. But they do it because the system is designed to let them do that. We can have them fix the system. I was able to change some rules at the VA, by just being an employee. I know that veterans can push the VA to a better place, and I'm hoping that's what we're gonna do. Attorney, want to close it out for us?
Oh, yeah. It's, one of the things we always mention here, of course, is what our organization is doing right now, which is building a memorial in Piedmont Park. And so we're looking for veterans families, friends of veterans, anybody who knows a veteran, to purchase a commemorative brick so that your name or your veteran's family's name or anybody you want to, or your organization, to be a permanent part of a memorial in Piedmont Park. And here's an opportunity. Go to our website, see it on my helmet here, sonsofatlanta.org. Study the website itself. Find out what veterans are doing, what veterans have doing, and our attitude. But you'll also find a list of approximately 240 young men who paid the ultimate price from Atlanta, Fulton County, whose names will be permanently imprinted on this memorial. And your name, alongside them, could be part of a commemorative brick that is a part of this memorial. So we're asking everyone's family, anybody if you want to support an organization that's going to do many things, not just build the memorial, but you heard us talking about opening up the centers where we can assess veterans, get their benefits, help veterans entering the military, provide them all the information you can, then join this organization, purchase a commemorative brick, and become a part of our memorial.
Thank you. Next week, T should be back on set, I hope, to give us some information. Matter of fact, she's going to host the show next week, right? Yes. Okay. All right, see y'all next week. Thank you.